What would you say is probably one of the failures? Maybe not even failures, but times that something didn't go your way, or maybe you call it a failure that you're most proud of.
Well, because we named the book Fireproof, you know that my office building burnt down. I've had lots of problems in my practice, and the book, talks about them and how we were able to be resilient and move past them. But as you were talking, and I don't think I've ever been asked to pick one, but I'm going to, because the one that just popped in my head in 2011, for about at least a 10-year period, I was getting over 70% of my cases from one lawyer in town.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have, obviously I was pleasing him and I was doing a good job and I was getting more money than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2011, May, he came into my office and said, "We are no longer sending you cases. We're going to keep them all in-house."
Mm-hmm.
And I had about 30 employees at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing roughly $17 million in settlements and verdicts.
Mm-hmm.
I was making a very nice living.
Mm-hmm.
I was having good success. My kids were starting to grow up a little bit. And I freaked out for about, 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I asked John Knockhazel to go get me some data on this as to what we pay for in referral fees. And we were paying out over $4 million a year in referral fees. And John came back with a whole spreadsheet in about an hour. And he said, "Let's go on TV, because the money we were paying in referral fees, we can now use that money to pay for the ads."
Yeah.
Simple as that, right? So no longer do you pay referral fees, and no longer do I only get the crappy cases. So I was getting the C- cases. I was not getting any A cases. And I was still making a great living on the C and D cases, because I had great lawyers and paralegals who were working up the files appropriately.
Yeah.
So we went on TV, and within a few years, we were, in the $100+ million range of settlements and verdicts, paying out zero in referral fees.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can do the math. And that was a big decision. So, you asked about a failure. I don't really look at things like, I don't use that word failures.
Mm-hmm.
I look at, well, it's kind of funny. So I will use this prop. So my computer is being held up by a book.
Okay.
And I was not going to show you this book, but see this, The Obstacle is the Way.
Yep.
Somebody sent me this book and I'm reading it, and it's literally the philosophy that I've lived by my whole life. And the book is really, really good. It's about Stoicism, but it's, everything I do, every time there's a misstep, there's, I fall down, the building burns down. I get fired from a big advertiser, lawyer leaves, whatever. I look at the mistakes, I look at what happened, and I always get better. And nothing keeps me down for more than an hour.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I realized that, and the truth is, Andy, I always knew that I shouldn't have all my eggs in one basket. And most of my eggs were in a basket, but I wasn't spending this was my marketing budget. So that probably was a misstep, but I knew it, but I couldn't get away from it. You ever had one of those?
Yeah, I know how you feel. Yeah.
And now I'm not dependent upon anybody. And it's a really, really, really nice feeling not to be dependent upon anybody. I am responsible for filling up our filing cabinets, and I'm not relying on somebody else. And and I've been fired from a job. My first legal job, I was fired after a few years. And I said, okay, mistake. I'm never working for anybody again.
Exactly.
It's another one of those things that I've learned, unfortunately, that I can't rely on other people. And so I have to do it myself, which is fine. I trust myself. I believe in myself. And so that's probably the biggest one.